Hey everybody, welcome to episode 33 of the Fiberista Files. Today is Monday, May 9th, 2011. I intended to record yesterday. In fact, I did record yesterday twice. Technical issues forced me to quit both times. So I eventually got frustrated and decided I was going to do it today, Monday. So here's hoping that it goes quickly so that I can get this up so people can watch it before the update, which happens at 6. All right. I do have notes today. They're very high tech. I don't know what I wrote on the back. Let's get started, I guess. First, I'd like to apologize for not having a podcast last week or a shop update last week. Those of you who are on my plurk may, and I think I mentioned it in the Ravelry group too, I was dealing with some health issues, some medical issues. Still am dealing with them. I got some unfortunate medical news on the week of vacation, which was the third week in April. It's nothing life-threatening. It's nothing, fatal or dangerous. It's just really inconvenient. I'm on a new medication. It's not one I want to be on. It's one of those medications like you see on TV that has all the horrible side effects listed after it that sound as bad, if not worse, than the original problem. But fingers crossed, it's going to be a 6-month run and hopefully it'll help me out. Adjusting to that has taken me a while. In fact, I pretty much spent 2 weeks where I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to podcast. I didn't even want to get on Plurk. And if you know me, you know that Plurk's kind of my thing. So to not even want to be on Plurk, and it was kind of a big deal. So thankfully, everybody who talked to me on the blog, on Ravelry, on the Ravelry group, they were all really supportive. So thank you guys so much for being understanding. Well, I kind of took a couple of weeks and just vegged. And I appreciate the comments for sure. So I'm looking behind me because I was looking for a place to put my tea strainer. I have a cup of tea going. I'm freezing. It was beautiful, sunshiny, 60 degrees outside. And as soon as I got out of school today, it dropped 10 degrees and started like horrible, like hurricane force winds out there. Not really very impressed, honestly. I was kind of looking forward to playing in the sun. So I'm drinking tea. This is Earl Grey tea in my I'd rather die than knit with generic yarn mug that I got from my friend Deidre. Alright, where was I? Oh, in other news in my personal life, my almost 96-year-old grandmother fell and broke her hip this week, so I got a phone call while I was at work from my mother saying, Grammy fell, she's in the hospital, they're probably going to need to do surgery, call me back. And then she wasn't there when I called her back. It's been kind of a week this week. So, now that it's Monday, it's a new week. I'm hoping that this week doesn't suck terribly. And as sort of a way to make myself feel better, I got the dyepots this past weekend. So, without further ado, let's show you what's in the dyepots. Most of this is all just 2 different fibers that I worked with. One is the black cherry lace weight yarn, the 100% fine merino, 1100 yards per 100 grams. I love dyeing that stuff. It's fun, it's fast, the colors look great. Merino takes dye beautifully. I really enjoy it. And originally I was going to keep it all for the show, but I feel like you guys deserve to have some of the good stuff. Especially those of you who live in an area that means you're not going to get to the fiber fair. So I dyed just up some stuff. The first color I'm going to show you is called Blooming Crabapple. This one is already spoken for. In fact, this one, somebody asked me specifically if I had any yarn in this color, and I didn't. But I did have a pair of undyed skeins, so I dyed them up for her. This is called Blooming Crabapple. So you can see that. It's a very pale pastel pink and cream blend. It is tonal. It took 2 different dyes from 2 different companies to get this color together. All of my pinks are like a hot pink or a dark pink. I really don't have any pastel shades. So I really had to experiment with reduced color values. And then I added some beiges and creams to get the creamier color. This won't focus because my camera stinks, but you could see the colors anyway. So that's Blooming Crabapple. That one is spoken for, but this one is not. I did another pair of Blue Lobster skeins that dyed the exact same stupid stinking thing that the first one did, which was it has a couple of very small tiny bits of red. You can kind of see it right there. It has a little bit of red in it. Not enough to bother a finished project, I don't think. They're very small spots, but the stupid red dye didn't dissolve. This dye is beautiful. I love the blues. Look at how beautiful that is. It might still be going into timeout because I'm really not happy. I'm not impressed. These are going to be the reduced $18 a piece as well. There'll be those two up for sale. That's Blue Lobster. Somebody asked me if I had any more Cardinal, and I had Cardinal in the tote of stuff to take with me to Fiber Fair, but some of the stuff that I dyed this weekend I liked better. So I put that in the tote and took this one out. Again, because somebody asked me specifically. This is Cardinal. This is that really bright red and scarlet. Looks semi-solid, but in fact is tonal. Some is more like red, and some is more kind of hot pink red. Almost red, I call it. So there's two skeins of Cardinal. I know she wants one. I don't know if she wants both. I need to actually ask her because I can't remember. If that was you, because I'm going to have to go through my plurk to figure out who it was that wanted Cardinal, and you want the Cardinal, you need to let me know and I'll put it as reserved because right now it's not listed as reserved. Wildflower is a newer colorway. This one, I did one test game before and somebody loved it and said they wanted it, so I decided that it was pretty enough to do again. You can see that this one has a darker section in it. It's just the way it rescanned. The dark is actually really well interspersed throughout. This is light purple, dark purple, magenta. It's kind of like all over the purple color scheme. But beautiful. I love these. I think these would make a beautiful shawl. That's Wildflower. And then the last new color I have, new colorway, is called Clear Skies. And this is a bright turquoise and aqua green, aqua blue, I should say. It's not a green, it's a blue. Again, you can see a darker patch here. That's just the way it rescanned. But it is that color blue. Sometimes if I hold it in one side or the other, it will show up better. But it's not. It's just going to look just like that. That's what it looks like. That's pretty close as far as the color goes. So there's two skeins of that as well. The other thing that I dyed up lace weight and I dyed up the mixed BFL silk, which you've seen in the ultraviolet colorway, and I also did a tiger lily colorway. Both of those I redid. No, it's not superwash. The mixed BFL Tessa Silk blend is a limited blend from my supplier, and they've already messaged everybody and said, look, we're pretty much out. So I ordered 5 pounds, but I knew that it was going to be the last 5 pounds that I was going to get. I decided not to put them in a show, but to dye them for you guys. I think you deserve it. I think that you appreciate it, and I don't want people at the show to think that they can go to the website when they get home and buy more, because there's never going to be any more. This is it. This is all I'm going to have. I may keep 4 ounces of the undyed just for myself because I love it. I think it's fabulous. It's soft, it's smushy, it's got sheen, it's beautiful. And I haven't played with it because I just sell everything I buy. So here's the fiber. That's tea, but the fiber's coming. I just said I did some more ultraviolet. This is the ultraviolet colorway. It is bright blue. Purple rather. Sorry. It is bright purple. Of course, yesterday I had not enough light. Today I've got too much light. Bright purple. This little white thing right here is just like a silk kind of noir. It also has a dusky purple. A lot of undyed areas. And then there's a medium purple in there as well, which is kind of hard to point out. But the thing that I love about this is that the silk takes the dye better than the wool does, and it travels through the silk, so you'll get these undyed areas. This is basically just the gray fiber, but the silk that has run through it has taken the purple. I cannot even fathom how beautiful this will be in a finished yarn. I just think it's gorgeous. So, and there's another example of that right here, actually, where that silk, you can see that the silk has, even though it's blurry, you can see the silk is colored in there and the fiber is gray. So that's ultraviolet. I have 2 of those. I have 3 of this one, and it's very similar to ultraviolet if you are unfamiliar with the colorway. This is Midnight Lavender. Hang on, I'm going to have some more tea. Midnight Lavender is the colorway that I've done in sock yarn, but I haven't done in fiber before. Oh, that's good tea. Midnight Lavender is a blend of dark, rich purples, a few hints of pink, and there's some lavender in there, but it's really well blended in, so it's kind of just like the shades run the gamut from that dark midnight purple all the way through that pale silvery gray. And again, the silk takes the dye differently. I've mentioned before about the reason I love to dye silk is because it takes dye differently than wool does, and I never really know what's going to happen. So, in this sort of reddish purple, I freaking hate this camera. You can see some softer blue lines running up and down it, maybe. Maybe you can't. Anyways, the silk took it as a blue purple, and the fiber took it as kind of a reddish magenta purple. So it took the dye differently, which gives it a lot more character. I'm trying to see if I can find you a good spot to show you that. That one might be able to show you. Right here. If I lift that up, that's red purple, and then this blue purple is the silk. So anyway, I have 3 of these Midnight Lavenders. They're very pretty, very subtle. This is not a highly variegated fiber. The one that is highly variegated is this one. This is Tiger Lily. I've done this before. It was nabbed pretty quickly in the last update, so I wanted to do it again. It is dyed in a gold, sort of saffron yellow, a really dark, rusty orange, and a plummy purple. Again, dyed on the mixed BFO, which is like a light silver BFO with silk in it. The silk did not show up as differently in this one, but it does add a lot of sheen. So when you dye it, please don't rain, I need to bring in laundry. Seriously, is it sprinkling outside? No, I think I'm alright. I'm gonna have to hurry. When you spin it, the silk will come through and it will show up so beautifully, I think. Again, I haven't actually spun it yet because I don't ever get to play with my own fiber. The last one is a new colorway. It's called Sherwood. And yesterday when I did this, the colors did not come up, so maybe they'll show up today. No, this is not doing it justice. The pictures are doing a better job. If you look at the shop, it is shop.highlandhandmaids.com with no www. Shop.highlandhandmaids.com. You can see all of this fiber, and it will go live at 6 p.m. tonight. Sherwood is a beautiful emerald green, just the right shade of green. It's the perfect green. I love this green. And then a rich reddish chestnut brown. This doesn't look very red chestnut to you, probably, because my camera is not liking that color, but it's gorgeous. The silk really did show up in this one, too. You can see where all the silk threads run through it. It's gorgeous. I did allow the fiber to bleed a little bit, so there's some paler spots that probably on an ecru fiber would show up as like apricot, but on this just is like a subtler browny kind of color. So that's Sherwood. Oh, that's better. Those colors are more realistic to how the fiber actually works. So, looks. And that's what's in the update. I just flew through that. It doesn't seem like very much. I am still dyeing for show, so probably half of what I dyed this week I can't show you guys yet. Next week's episode, I'm going to go over everything I've dyed for the show, talk more in depth about it. It's going to be a pretty long episode, but I think it will be worth it, and you'll get a chance to see everything that I haven't been able to show you thus far. I did also make the decision this week that there's a couple of things I'm taking with me to Fiber Frolic, which is 2 weeks later than Acadia Fiber Fair, and I'm not going to take them to the Fiber Fair. I'm a little worried that if I do really well at Fiber Fair, I will have nothing for Fiber Frolic. Okay, it was Leaf, not a drop. Fiber Frolic is the biggest show I've done. It's huge. It's very well populated. The visits, it's a big show. It goes for 2 days. The Fiber Fair is smaller. It's 1 day. It seems silly to hope that you don't sell a lot, but if I have to choose between one or the other, I'd rather have the fiber for Fiber Frolic. So the Superwash Merino that I bought is going to Fiber Frolic. It's not going to the Fiber Fair. And the Basswood Bulky yarn that I'm dyeing up this week will also not be going with me to the Fiber Fair because I need them for fiber frolic. So, that being said, that's pretty much what's in the dye pots. Let's move on. I'm looking at my notes. Growing the business. There's the dog. I haven't grown the business this week. Business is actually decreased because, go figure, I don't have any fiber yarn for y'all to buy. Hopefully that will change and pick back up now that I'm back able to get things accomplished. I really wasn't able to do much of anything for the last 2 weeks. Processes. Some colorways I've mentioned before are inspired by photos. I better use my coaster. This is my wicked efficient coaster from the coast of Maine. And it even, in case you're wondering, says put drink here. That's how you say that. Here. Put drink here. Little Maine accent lesson for you. Blooming crabapple, that pink. I took a picture. This is a picture of course the glare is going to make it hard to see, of my grandmother's crabapple tree. And this bloom right here is not quite open. The ones that are really not open are hot dark pink. And the ones that are fully open are white. But right here, this little guy, soft, pale pink and cream. And I said, that's the color I want. That's the color I got. I did well. I'm pleased with the blooming crabapple. So photos. Peacock also was a colorway inspired by a photo. Sometimes I get a custom request. If you look in the Knit Girls Ravelry group and you look at the Haruni knit along, there's a girl there, a woman, who is knitting her Haruni in my sock yarn. I custom dyed her an order. She said she wanted to knit the Haruni for her wedding. These were the colors of the wedding. These were the flowers. Could you dye me something and just send it to me? Which was awesome. So I dyed up a colorway called Blue Hydrangea. I looked at a lot of pictures and did a lot of research on blue hydrangeas and all that. And came up with that colorway. That will be a colorway that I do again because I liked it. So there's a lot of different ways to get ideas for colors. The most recent colorway I was inspired to create was from a Plurk conversation. My friend Lori has 2 daughters, one of whom is gay. And she finally got the courage, after really worrying about it and being really scared about it for a long time, she finally got the courage to come out to her father. Thrilled for her that she had the courage. Everything was fine. You know, he obviously loves his daughter and it was fine. But I was just sort of wowed by the amount of courage it must take to tell somebody something when you yourself are convinced that it's not going to go well. So because she was so brave, we were all congratulating her via, by talking to her mother. And somebody mentioned on Plurk that I needed to make a Yay, I'm Gay colorway. And I laughed about it for a second and I went, dude, I totally have almost the exact same colorway that I need. So I dyed it up. It was in my recipe box. So I dyed it up. This is called Yay, I'm Gay. And I love it. Look how happy that is. Bright yellows, hot pinks, some blues, some undyed areas. Really fantastic. Not really rainbow because I didn't want to be, like cliche. So anyways, this is called Yay, I'm Gay. One will be going to the girl, to the daughter who was so brave and who inspired the colorway. And then 2 more will be going for sale. They're not in tonight's update. They're going to be in next week's update because this really isn't dry. It's not quite finished. So it hasn't been photographed. It's not ready for tonight. It'll be in next week's update. So if you want to score a 4-ounce braid, it's superwash BFL of the Yay, I'm Gay colorway, you'll have your chance next week. So you go, girl. Proud of you. Let's see, what else do I have? Wow, I'm flying through this, probably because yesterday when I did it, I got the blue screen of death, and I'm hoping that I can get through all this without my computer crashing on me again. It's a brand new computer. Excuse me. Okay. Grabby hands. I have been looking at spinning resources for a couple of different reasons. I know how to spin. Terrific. I can always get better. But I know that a lot of people who are learning to spin would like some more resources than the ones that I give them. So I always keep my eye out for good spinning resources. And I've got 2 that I've actually looked at and 1 more that I still need to really go through before I can review it. But The first one is a booklet. It's not even really a book. Do you have to scratch at that right now? Thank you. Cat. I hope you can hear that. Brakes. Stop. Psst. Hey, don't make me knock that table down. Thank you. Sorry. The first book is called Spin It, Making Yarn from Scratch by Lee Raven and Tracy Bunkers. This is from Interweave Press. The retail price it says here is $14.95, $11.95. I know Interweave has a lot of sales, so I bet you can get it cheaper than that. I did. I think it was on sale like 40% off, and I added it to my cart not because I thought I needed it, but because I wanted free shipping, and I was almost at $50, so I must have got it from Knit Picks. All right, so this book has some good things and some not so good things. Now, it talks in the beginning about fibers and what you need to do with fiber. This is just washed locks. It's not a commercially prepared bunch of fiber. So the very first thing it talks about using just a hooked stick in your thighs. Now, this is not any kind of spindle, but the instructions talk about drafting and winding on and the drafting triangle and problems. Really very, very like ultimate basic in information. Gives you some really good stuff. After that, it moves on to, what's a slub. It shows an example here. It talks about how much twist you need in a fiber, the difference between S and Z twist, and it does give you the information on how Z twist is, let me think about this. One is clockwise, one is counterclockwise. Z twist is clockwise. Counterclockwise is S twist. When I spin, my normal motion is to do Z twist singles and S twist or counterclockwise plying. But it explains that. And this was the book where I learned that if you tip yarn upside down or right side up, the twist looks the same, which is a pretty cool little factoid. Now, it also shows you how to make your own hand spindle, and that's great. It's a CD spindle with a thick dowel and some eye hooks and big whoop and some grommets. They make a top whorl spindle. That's what they make. You can clearly see that this is a top whorl spindle. There's the whorl, there's the shaft, and the hook's up here. That's a top whorl spindle. They're all the same. All these pictures are top whorl. The written instructions are for bottom whorl spindling. So it tells you to wind the fiber onto the shaft at the bottom of the shaft on top of the whorl. That doesn't make any sense in a top whorl spindle because you put the fiber underneath the whorl at the top of the shaft. I don't understand how these pictures and words could have been published when they are so clearly contradictory to each other. If you are a brand new spinner, you're going to have no freaking idea why you need to wind your fiber 15 inches up the shaft and make a half hitch. You've got a stinking hook. It doesn't even make any sense. This is my biggest pet peeve of the book. Can you tell my voice goes higher when I get irritated? I know what I'm doing. I understand what they did here. If you are a new spinner, you probably have no idea, and it's just going to be confusing. Now, it does talk about some other things like making joins and how to test your joins. And the other good thing I like is it talks about how to process your yarn. How to make a very cheap Lazy Kate, poke your spindle through a shoebox. What you can do if you don't have a nitty knotty for spinning your, winding your finished yarn onto a chair. How to tie it off. How to use a nitty knotty if you have one. How to make figure 8 knots. All of it's in here, and it's good information. Tells you how to set the twist. There's good vocabulary in bold, just like, when you were in elementary school and your textbooks or whatever had it. It also does talk about, shows how to Andean ply, which is basically making a center pull ball on your wrist. It doesn't give you the option for making a center pull ball, which is silly. So many of us have ball winders, just wind that sucker on. But it doesn't. Fine, whatever. After you've learned how to spin, it goes on to fiber preparations, hand cards, which are on the low end of the cost of the fiber tool equipment, combs, which are similar but different. A Nostipin, which tells you how to make a center pole ball if you don't have a ball winder. Tells you how to, this is a good thing, how to condition a commercial sliver or roving. If you get combed top, especially like if you get the Superwash Merino Tencel that I send out is braided very tightly. If you have fiber, especially combed top that's very compact, it tells you in this book how to sort of loosen those fibers and let them fluff up so that it's easier to draft and easier to spin. Fantastic. Then it talks about how to clean raw wool a little bit. Then there's projects. The first project is spun with Angora yarn. This particular project is 2 ounces of Angora fiber. Angora fiber is not a beginner fiber. It's not. It's slippery. It's hard to control. It gets all up your nose. And then they make this. This is a bag. It is a bunny with red, creepy eyes. Who is going to make this? So there's a knit project. Then they show the knit bunny again with the bunny who is from, whatever. There are garter stitch ribbed mitts. Those aren't terrible. Knit side to side. Easy construction. That one's not bad. Although, what do they use for fiber? Wool and mohair blend. I have not spun mohair, so I don't know how it spins, but I imagine it would be alright. They do have a crocheted brimmed hat. It's kind of ugly fiber. It's red and purple. But whatever, maybe they like the poem. And then they also have, which I did like, they have a weaving. They have a weaving project for hand spun yarn. And the hat was crochet. So they do have a multiple range of products. They also have, this is the one cute project in this book. The knitted turquoise tornado baby cap. The problem with this cap, like, I think it looks cute. It looks like the Harry Potter sorting hat. But then, look, you have to sew, like, you just knit a strip, and then you have to sew the strips together. Not going to happen. Cute. Not going to happen. Alright, so this is Spin It. Would I recommend this book? Yes, if you can get it for 40% off. I wouldn't pay more than $10 probably for this book. I don't think it's worth it because it's confusing. Is it a good resource to have once you kind of know what you're doing? Sure. Now, Interweave Press has put out a new ebook, and they're currently offering it for free. It's called Drop Spindle Spinning, and you can get it from, I got an email from Spinning Daily that told me that there was a free ebook, but I'm sure if you go to Spinning Daily or Interweave Press, I'm sure there's a way you can find it, and I will try and link it down here in the show notes so you can see it there. Now, the Drop Spindle Spinning book is less tutorial and more a selection of articles that have partial tutorials in them. That sounds confusing. Let me explain. The first part of the book is how to make a drop spindle, and it comes straight from this book. That CD spindle is in this. It's in the ebook. Then there are a couple of articles by Maggie Casey on drafting, spinning, how to make a lazy Kate. There are several other articles by other people whose names I didn't recognize, but go all through the basics of how to tie a figure 8 knot, how to do all of that. Now, I like that one more for 2 reasons. Number 1, it has articles by Maggie Casey. If you've read anything by Maggie Casey, you know she makes sense. What she's saying is cohesive with the pictures. You don't have that whole top whorl, bottom whorl, spindle confusion thing going on. Maggie Casey knows what she's talking about. She's a wicked smart lady. Great. Second reason I like it is because each article is a separate and distinct thing. So you don't have to go read the whole thing. You can do it piecemeal. And I like that. I like that a lot. Thirdly, it's free. If you don't like it, what are you out? Nothing except the time that you took to read it. Big stinking whoop. You should read it anyway, just because it's got articles by Maggie Casey in it. So, it's called Drop Spindle Spinning. I'm going to try and link it down here in the show notes. I like it. I like it better than Spin It. Would I pay for that one? Yes. Would I pay more than $10? No. I'm kind of cheap. In order for me to spend my money on something, it's got to be really amazing. Yeah. So there's the 2 spinning books that are in grabby hands. The other thing in grabby hands isn't really something that you can grab a hold of. But I have come across 2 podcasts that are new to me, and I wanted to pass them along. They are One's an audio podcast, one's a video podcast. Both are multi-craftual podcasts. The first one is called Domesticated Darling. That's the video podcast. Kate of Domesticated Darling is the sister of the lady who does the Needlebound podcast. Lisa? I should know that, and I don't know why I don't all of a sudden know her name. Like, I'm totally blanking. I'm sorry if that's not your name. I will fix that in the show notes if I'm wrong. Or I'll put a text blurb here or something. Anyways, Needlebound podcast, her sister, Domesticated Darling. Watch it. She's entertaining, and her kid was in the last episode, not on video, but you can hear her run, 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 run. Hi, Mom! Hi, honey, go outside and play. Okay, bye, Mom! Run, 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 door. Like, it just is wicked funny. You can totally hear it. I giggled through the whole thing. She's polycraftable. She does a lot of crochet. She has a pleasing crochet aesthetic, which means that, at least what I've watched so far, she's done nice-looking crochet items. I find a lot of crochet to be displeasing to my eye. Whatever, it's my opinion. I don't really like a lot of the stuff that people make out of crochet. But she has pretty good taste in her patterns, and she's made the last episode that I watched, she did a bunch of modifications to some patterns, and I really liked her modifications. So I don't crochet yet, but I really liked what she had done. And she does sewing. She made a cute apron with these little bows. I totally want it. Not to clean or anything, because it's way too pretty to do that, but it was really cute. So and she's productive. She does a lot, so it's worth watching every week because she gets stuff done every week, unlike me, who I'm still working on Giro Soleil. I'm on the edging. I finished all the knit rows. I haven't started the edging yet. The second podcast is an audio podcast. It's called Happy Crafter 207. These are both linked down here in the show notes. Happy Crafter 207 is another Maine podcaster. 207 is Maine's area code, and that's what Happy Crafter 207 is. She is also a multi-craftual person. She does a lot of different things. I've actually met her. I didn't realize it at the time, but she is at a lot of the same shows that I go to. She sells rail cooking frames and supplies and things like that. She's actually really cool, funny, and very pleasant. And we've dealt with some really odd people at some of these shows. I'm sure you can imagine. And she's very entertaining. She has the same sort of opinion of some of these questions that people ask you and the foolishness that they perpetrate at craft shows. So, Domesticated Darling and Happy Crafter 207. Definitely check them out. And I believe, I don't know if they're on iTunes, honestly. I haven't looked. Go to their blogs. That's what I would do. That's what I do. I don't use iTunes. iTunes bothers me. I can download it on iTunes, or I can just watch it right on the blog and not download anything. Why not read the blog? That's all I have this week, guys. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate the support. I'm very humbled to be in a community where everybody is so amazing. The shop update is happening tonight in an hour and a half, so you're probably not going to see this until the update happens, and I'm sorry. But if you get something in the update, you'll be able to enjoy it more because I'll have told you all about it. So until next week, guys, happy spinning and knitting, and thanks for tuning in.